Hi everyone, it's Lisa again from my home. We're crafting on behalf of the Paris Bourbon County Library. I hope you've been crafting too. Today we're going to be making these adorable hoop hearts. And I'll show you the materials that we need and then we'll actually get started on one. You're going to need an embroidery hoop. Now these are in your kit. There is a kit available for it. It does include a few embellishments and a hoop. I have painted this one black. You'll notice this one has been stained. The second thing that you're going to need, or an additional thing you're going to need, is fabric or paper. You could actually do the same thing using scrapbook paper, a heavy construction paper, cardboard, that kind of thing. But I like the look of the fabric. This one is burlap and this one is a ticking. It's called a ticking fabric. It is cotton. You'll notice here that we also have felt, and I'll explain this fabric in just a few moments to you. I needed ribbon. I wasn't sure what kind of ribbon to use, so I've made several of them and I'll kind of pair them up and see what I think looks best. I need something for tracing my circle. I'll need a pair of scissors, and if you intend to, like I did, put your fabric on there without stitching it on there, then you're going to need this tacky glue. It's really good for all kinds of surfaces, including fabric. And I'm going to be needing my glue gun because I'm going to be putting a few more embellishments on these as we go along. So that's our list of supplies, and let me explain how I achieved the first one. The first thing I did is I just took an acrylic paint. You could actually spray paint these if you wanted to, but I did want to keep the top silver. The next thing that I did on this one was I found a piece of burlap and I actually traced the circle, and I'll do that in just a few moments to show you exactly how to do it. I cut a rough cut around it and I popped it in my embroidery hoop. Now I don't want to loosen this one. I will that one in just a few moments. But all you have to do is unscrew this and the center pops out of it. There's actually two pieces to the embroidery hoop. That holds it in place. The tighter this is, the more it will hold in place. Okay? Now I was fortunate that from last year or 2 years ago, I bought these pieces of plaid. I think it's called a buffalo plaid, but a plaid that had an iron-on surface on the back of them. And so that's what these two are. These are both from this fabric that had the iron-on back. And once I popped that in there and trimmed it up, all I simply did was took my iron and my images, placed them where I wanted to, and then gently ironed that surface just back and forth there, and those are not coming up. They're on there. They've been glued to the burlap. Okay, and so really the only thing I need to do for this one, now I could add buttons, I could add glitter, I could add more twine to it, I could do a lot of things, but I think really all this one needs is a bow. Now I had this one chosen, but I think it's overpowering. I also have this one, I think a simple one, and I just made this one thinking that this might be the one that I choose. It's very simple, and I can just hot glue that, or I could use wire or a zip tie. I could do a lot of things to get that on there, because honestly I've got a little place right here where the screw goes in. That's also a good place to hang these. You've automatically got a little place for your nail or your screw or however you're going to hang these, if you're going to hang them. So that's the first one. Really simple. The second one is made with the ticking. And ticking is just a fabric. I really enjoy working with it. It's 100% cotton. I like the look of it. It's kind of got a vintage look. To make this one a little bit different, I took the felt and I cut a random heart. Everyone knows how to fold your felt and then cut your image, and that way you've got equal sides, just as I've done on this one and on this one. And then I used this did not have an adhesive on the back as the first one did. So I used my tacky glue on the back, and I'll show you how to do that in a few moments. I just made sure there was enough of that on the back of my image, and I placed it where I wanted to. Now for me, that was a little bare still. It didn't have a little bit of the zing I was looking for, a little bit of pop, as they may say. And so I ended up taking this heavy twine and hot gluing it around the heart. And I just left my edges raw because I don't mind the raw edge of the twine. And then in the center, just add a little something to this. I like just the simple wooden button. And I'm not going to stitch that on, although I could, because these are both fabric. I am going to hot glue it on. And again, I would choose a bow. I like this one. And this may very well be the one that I make. Or keep, I should say. I have this one as well. I do want to show you real quick before we move on how to get this little bow. That's simply one tie in the middle. It's best if you work with a wire ribbon. And there's my center. And then all I'm simply going to do is put those cute little ends on there. And make sure that I've got them the same equal distance on both sides. And that's kind of a fun little ribbon. So I've got some options here. And the good thing is there's some consistency here. So these could be hung together. Now I do want to show you how to make one of these entirely. I do not have another ring here. So don't panic. I'm getting ready to take this one out of its embroidery hoop. I'll put that to the side. And when I head back to work, I will pick up another one to completely finish my little ensemble of 3 of them. So I'm going to loosen this. This is not glued in there, so it's going to pop right back in a little bit later. And there you can see the 2 parts of the hoop. So I'm going to reuse this. I'm actually going to use this a little bit later, or the next time that I go to work, I'll pick up a new hoop, or when I'm out shopping. Okay, so I think I'm going to make one because I had the felt, the addition of that felt up there. I think I'm going to make one with the felt. And we're going to see how that turns out. So I'm just going to simply go around with my Sharpie. We'll cut that out. You know, we may have to do a redo here. I really should have popped that in my frame first. Now I'll see if this works, but there's a great possibility it's not going to work. I may need to see what we've got left here. So not enough of the red, but I don't think this is going to work. It is not. I'm going to pause you and we're going to fix this. Okay, I'm back and I apologize for that. Sometimes you have a crafter brain confusion, and that's what I've had. I do not want to trace. Actually, what I want to do is get a piece of fabric that's big enough to pop in there, and then I want to trim the underside of it. So nix what you heard just a few minutes ago, and let's fix this. There was not enough of this felt to finish this, so I went upstairs and got my reliable burlap. And I know that this is wide enough because I've actually used it on this one. So it still will allow me to kind of have those three together. I'm just not going to be able to use the felt as the background. I could definitely use it as a heart or an image, but I can't use it as my background because I'm messed up, which happens. Now I'm overcompensating here, but again, you could have used any fabric. I'm just using burlap. So I'm going to lay this on top and push. And I want a tight connection between the bottom and the top. And once I do, I'm going to screw that together. And on the underneath side, I'm going to take my scissors and just simply trim up. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that you could use paper. In the event you are using paper, then it's perfectly acceptable for you to go ahead and trace it, because what you're going to do is glue that to the front of to the very front of this rim here on the embroidery hoop. So make it just maybe a little bit bigger, and that's where you're going to glue down using hot glue. I would recommend hot glue all the way around there. So make sure you've got a good circle. That one's kind of weird because I cut it out so quickly knowing I had made my mistake. Okay, so this one's ready to be decorated. And I've got these two hearts that are already cut out. I don't know that they go together, but I do like this one. So how can I incorporate a little bit of the felt? Let's make a smaller heart. I'm not sure I care for the two, but we're going to make it work. No, definitely on top. I'll make this one go in a little different direction here. Now this is regular fabric. This is not the kind with the adhesive on the back. What if I did more side by side? There we go. So I'm going to take my tacky glue or fabric glue and on the back I'm taking the tip of it just to kind of help me smear that a little bit. There we go. Let's take it off of that. You can use a paintbrush if you want to. I'm just trying to make sure I've got... I am making a mess today. It does not have to be completely covered. I just have enough out here for it to almost completely cover it. I'm trying to get up around my edges too. Okay, well maybe that worked out better than I thought it was going to. And I am simply just pushing that down. And of course I have to give it time to dry. I'm still trying to incorporate that other one, but I think these are the best too. I'm so ready for Valentine's Day. Love that holiday. clean up the little remnants of burlap. And there we go. Now, at that point, you can put another button if you would like for it to coordinate with the one that we removed. You could put some of your twine around the inside to add to that effect. And I think that's what we're going to do. I think that will tie it in with the twine on the heart. We're going to start at the top because that's where our bow will be, and we will not notice it. We won't notice this raw edge. Now, if you use paper, again, you're just going to glue it to the top here. And you can put any image you want at that point. You can still coordinate fabric with it and bows, or you could simply just get cut out hearts from papers, from book pages, from old Valentines that you might have or have kept. And those would look great. I kind of like this. Almost done. And there we go. I kind of like the look of that. It really does tie those two together. And then at the top, I will have to choose one of our ribbons to match up with that. And that is our hoop hearts. I hope you've enjoyed these. These are super simple. Let me pull that one, put our supplies to the side. I'm going to put a bow on them, just put it on there and see how we think they look. Remember, this one's getting a new embroidery hoop. Here's the other one. And that one will go on our embroidery hoop. I hope you like these. Think about materials that you have at home that you can use. Even look for embroidery hoops. They can be found in homes. I have 2 or 3 larger hoops here myself that in the past I have used for embroidering. These are fun. These are cute. Be festive for the holidays as well. I hope you've enjoyed this craft. If you make this craft, you can post it to the Paris Bourbon County Facebook page. We'd love to see them. And in the meantime, keep crafting.